What's going on, Ohio Cannabis Report Live community? It's your boy Gerald Moore Jr. Happy Friday. It's been a few days since I've gone live. There's been a lot that's been going on here in the state of Ohio, here in Columbus, Ohio, and obviously nationally and globally. So we have some headlines for you. Thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you guys for joining and subscribing. Just a disclaimer, I am not a lawyer. I'm not a doctor. I am a public servant, a community member, nonprofit leader. So this is my opinion, my thoughts only. None of these opinions represent the brands or companies that I may support or collaborate with. With that being said, this is for news and entertainment and educational purposes only. I want to thank you guys for all the subscriptions, man. I think we're about at like 160 subs on YouTube. Shout out to everybody on our Instagram pages, our Facebook, people that have checked out our Substack. I'm still trying to get everything in line, so everything is kind of like centralized. Still working on our website. A lot of moving pieces, but thank you to everybody who has supported the movement since we started. Let me get my TikTok. So I got a few headlines I want to talk about today. Obviously, we're going to lead off with the feds increasing medical marijuana and cannabidiol research. An executive bill that we talked about previously was signed by, or executive order was signed by Donald Trump to basically expedite rescheduling of marijuana, cannabis from Schedule 1 to a Schedule 3. And so let me go ahead and share my screen so you guys can see. And so this is officially from the White House's website, whitehouse.gov. Presidential actions increasing medical marijuana and cannabidiol research. Executive orders, December 18th, 2025. By the authority vested in me as the President of the Constitution and the laws of the United States of America, it is hereby ordered, Section 1, proposed in policy, Americans deserve access to the best medical treatments and research infrastructure in the world. In 2023, the Food and Drug Administration, FDA, completed a review of the landscape of medical use for marijuana and found scientific support for its use to treat anorexia related to medical conditions, nausea, vomiting, and pain. Chronic pain affects nearly 1 in 4 United States adults and more than 1 in 3 United States seniors. And 6 in 10 people who use medical marijuana report doing so to manage pain. 40 states plus the District of Columbia have state or locally sanctioned regulated medical marijuana programs. Yet decades of federal drug control policy have neglected marijuana's medical uses. That oversight has limited the ability of scientists and manufacturers to complete the necessary research on safety and efficacy to inform doctors and patients. Marijuana is currently controlled under Schedule 1 of the Controlled Substances Act, CSA. In 2023, the Department of Health and Human Services, HHS, recommended to the Drug Enforcement Agency, DEA, that marijuana be controlled under Schedule 3 of the CSA. Notice this is 2023, so this is not under Trump, by the way. Trump just got in office. So this was Biden's doing. Schedule 1 drugs are defined as drugs with no currently accepted medical use, a high potential for abuse, and a lack of accepted safety for use of the drug under medical supervision. In Schedule 3, drugs are classified as having a potential for abuse less than the drugs or other substances in Schedule 1 and 2, a currently accepted medical use and treatment in the United States, and a potential for moderate or low physical dependence or high psychological dependence in the event of drug abuse. The recommendation from the HHS included a determination that medical marijuana has a currently accepted medical use. That determination was based in part on the finding by the HHS office and the Assistant Secretary of Health that more than 30,000 licensed healthcare practitioners across 43 United States jurisdictions are authorized to recommend the medical use of marijuana for more than 6 million registered patients to treat at least 15 medical conditions. It was also based on the findings by the FDA of credible scientific support to substantiate that the use of marijuana in the treatment of pain, anorexia related to certain medical conditions, and nausea and vomiting induced by chemotherapy. The National Institute of Drug Abuse concurred with the FDA's recommendation that the marijuana be rescheduled from Schedule 1 to Schedule 3 of the CSA. In May 2024, the Department of Justice issued a proposed rule to reschedule marijuana to Schedule 3. The proposed rule received nearly 43,000 public comments and is currently awaiting an administrative law hearing. The federal government's long delay in recognizing the medical use of marijuana does not serve the Americans who report health benefits from the medical use of marijuana to ease chronic pain and other various medical recognized ailments. Americans who often seek alternative relief from chronic pain symptoms are particularly impacted. For example, in one research survey, 20% of participating United States veterans reported using fewer opioids as a result of their medical marijuana use. 1 in 10 seniors used marijuana in the last 10 years, and some evidence shows improvement in seniors' health-related quality of life and pain with medical marijuana use. However, the current Schedule 1 position of marijuana has impeded research. The lack of appropriate research on medical marijuana and the consequent lack of FDA approval leaves American patients and doctors without adequate guidance on appropriate prescribing and utilization. One patient survey showed that just 56% of older Americans using marijuana have discussed the using with their healthcare providers. This places patients, especially seniors who may be on multiple medications, at increased risk of drug interactions or other adverse events. The federal government must improve the research infrastructure for medical marijuana to better serve Americans. In addition to medical marijuana, which is primarily made up of two cannabinoids, cannabidiol, CBD, and tetrahydrocannabinol, THC, hemp-derived cannabinoid products defined by Section 297A of the Agricultural Marketing Act of 1946 have shown potential to improve patient symptoms for common ailments and are frequently used by Americans. 1 in 5 United States adults and nearly 15% of seniors reported using CBD in the past year, and chronic pain patients have reported improvements with CBD use in clinical studies. Furthermore, evidence suggests that the amount of THC in hemp-derived cannabinoids products can affect both pain treatment efficacy and adverse events. Hemp-derived cannabinoids, as defined in 7 USC 1639-0, are not controlled substances under the CSA, but are subject to the same authorities and requirements as FDA-regulated products containing any other substance. Adding complexity is the fact that some full-spectrum CBD products will once again be controlled as marijuana under the CSA when Section 781 of Public Law 119-37 goes into effect because they contain THC levels above the per container threshold set by the law. Further, a recent study found that some commercially available CBD products evaluated were inaccurately labeled regarding CBD isolate, broad spectrum, or full spectrum composition, posing safety risks for consumers. In short, the current legal landscape leaves American patients and doctors without adequate guidance or product safety guards for CBD. It is the policy of my administration to increase medical marijuana and CBD research to better inform patients and doctors. It is critical to close the gap between current medical marijuana and CBD use and medical knowledge of risk and benefits, including for specific populations and conditions. Research methods and models should include real-world evidence and should facilitate affordable access in order to rapidly assess the health outcomes of medical marijuana and legal CBD products while focusing on long-term health effects in vulnerable populations like adolescents and young adults. Section 2, rescheduling medical marijuana and improving access to cannabinoid products. The Attorney General shall take all necessary steps to complete the rulemaking process related to rescheduling marijuana to Schedule 3 of the CSA. In the most expeditious manner in accordance with the federal law, including 21 U.S.C. 811. B. The Assistant of the President and Deputy Chief of Staff for legislative, political, and public affairs shall work with the Congress to update the statutory definition of final hemp-derived cannabinoid products to allow Americans to benefit from access to appropriate full-spectrum CBD products while preserving the Congress's intent to restrict the sale of products that pose serious health risks. This will include consultation with appropriate executive departments and agencies and authorities to develop a regulatory framework for hemp-derived cannabinoid products, including development of guidance on an upper limit on milligrams of THC per serving, with considerations on per container limits and CBD to THC ratio requirements. The Secretary of Health and Human Services, the Commissioner of Food and Drugs, the Administrator of the Center of Medicare and Medicaid Services, and the Director of National Institutes of Health shall develop research methods and models utilizing real-world evidence to improve access to hemp-derived cannabinoid products in accordance with the federal law and to inform standards of care. Section 3, General Provisions. A. Nothing in this order shall be construed to impair or otherwise affect the authority granted by law to an executive department or agency or the head of thereof, or the functions of the Director of Office of Management and Budget relating to the budgetary, administrative, and legislative proposals. This order shall be implemented consistent with applicable law and subject to the availability of the appropriations. This order is not intended to or does not create any right or benefit substantive or procedural, enforceable at law or in equity by any party against the United States, its departments, agencies, or entities, its officers, employees, or agents, or any other person. The cost for publication of this order shall be borne by the Department of Health and Human Services. Donald J. Trump, the White House, December 18th, 2025. So yeah, there you go. With that, let me know what you guys think. See if we got anybody in the chat. What's good, y'all? What's good? Hope everybody's having a good week so far. Good Friday. Holidays is right around the corner. Obviously, it's busy time, busy season. It's a lot going on, man. So prayers to everybody. Holiday blessings if you guys celebrate. I know it's a lot going on. So I know a lot of people are struggling with a lot of different things. So definitely keeping everybody in my thoughts and prayers in this time as our nation is going through a lot of changes. So we have an article from the Ohio Capital Journal. So Ohio hemp bill would put future of THC beverages in hands of the federal government. Some Ohio craft brewers are optimistic changes will be made at the federal level to allow THC-infused beverages to continue to be manufactured and sold past next year. Ohio Senate Bill 56 allows 5 milligram THC beverages to be manufactured, distributed, and sold until December 31st, 2026. Sorry. The bill also says that if the federal government legalized THC beverages, Ohio will consider, quote, a more robust regulatory framework of these products, end quote, according to the bill's language. Quote, I'm excited we have another year, said Colin Castor, the co-founder of 3 Central Ohio breweries. Quote, I'm optimistic that the federal side will get cleared up. The more regulation we can get and the clarity on things, the better. End quote. Ohio Republican lawmakers passed the bill, sending it to Governor Mike DeWine's desk for his signature. DeWine has said he will sign the bill. Quote, I think the bill is positive, said Bobby Slatery, founder of 50 West Brewing Company in Cincinnati. Quote, I would have hoped that this bill would have, if the federal government extends this bill, would have an automatic extension built into it. That's not exactly how it played out, but I think it's something that we can fix down the road. However, not all brewers are as hopeful. Quote, I'm not optimistic that the federal piece that would trigger the clause will happen in time before the end dates of this Ohio bill, said Scotty Hunter, co-owner and founder of Urban Artifact Brewing, which produces Castle THC sodas. Quote, I'm still optimistic that the federal government will get a regulatory framework in place. I just don't expect that to happen in under a year. I expect some period of prohibition in Ohio. THC infused beverages have no alcohol in them and are regulated by the Ohio Department of Agriculture. Quote, one of the requirements of these beverages is that you actually have to send your product out to a lab to verify that it meets the milligrams that you are advertising on the can, Slatery said. 50 West Brewing produced sunflower THC uh, seltzers, which has quickly become popular. Quote, on the trajectory that it's on, we can see within the next 2 years this overtaking and us producing more THC products than craft beer, Slatery said. People looking for alternatives to alcohol turn to the THC infused beverages, Ohio brewers said. If you talk to customers that are drinking them, it's not because they get you higher or anything along those lines, Slatery said. Most of them are just looking for a healthy alternative, whether it's being a lower calories or it doesn't mess with their sleep. Castor was glad THC beverages were separated out from intoxicating hemp products in the bill. This is a different category and should be treated differently, he said. We felt like we were kind of being good players who were getting tossed into maybe not so great players. THC infused beverages make up 10 to 15% of their wholesale business and about 5% of the retail side, said Castor, the co-founder of Seven Sun Brewery, Antiques on High, and Gateway Brewing. Until he hears otherwise, Castor is keeping things status quo when it comes to THC beverages. He said his breweries are doing some new flavors of THC drinks next year. He said they were going to roll out a 10 milligram THC beverage, but are now changing it to 5 milligram beverages. We're overall glad about the regulation and overall slightly optimistic things that are moving in the right direction, Castor said. A pair of Democratic senators from Oregon recently introduced federal legislation that would undo the federal hemp ban and would, among other things, allow THC-infused beverages to contain up to 10%, 10 milligrams per container. Megan Henry. Shout out to Megan Henry of the Ohio Capitol Journal. So yeah, it's a lot going on. Got to pay attention to the news, to the politics of it all. Obviously, there was something else I want to highlight for you guys. That's how supposed to build. Needles cage holiday still on there from whatever. Yeah. All right. So yeah, that's pretty much all I had. I wanted to update you guys on what was going on at the state level. Let me know in the comments. I see we got a couple people in the chat. Hit me up in the chat. Let me know where you tapping in from. If you have any questions, if you have anything you want me to cover. Seems to be a slow news day today. I don't really. It's back to being cold in Ohio. Yesterday it was 50 degrees, which was a surprise. I think it got up to like 52, 56 degrees. And it's back to snowy and cold. Let me see. I do want to highlight some people too, though, in the in the Ohio cannabis community. So shout out to the Smoking Word podcast. I connected with one of the ladies the other day, and so they got a nice little stream that they got going on. So make sure you guys go check them out on YouTube. I don't know if they have a podcast on like streaming platforms, but check them out. They're out of Cincinnati. And so they're talking about a lot of different topics related to cannabis and obviously women. Definitely got a dope podcast, so go to subscribe to them. And then we got Ohio Cannabis Live. Anthony Mastermind. Y'all make sure y'all go check him out. He's been doing this for a while. He's got 5.9 subscribers. So y'all make sure you go check him out. He's always doing a lot of events. I think he has something on today. Usually he does a 420 show. So definitely check him out. He hosts some expos too. He's hosting the expo Columbus and here at Columbus, Hilliard area in 2026. So follow what he's doing. He's been somebody that's gone to the state house and testified in front of the state legislators about, some of the changes that they've implemented into SB 56. So he's been somebody that's really on the ground. A lot of great education between. Here's another. Between the Buds. Go check out Broderick. He's building a great platform over at Between the Buds. He's also cannabis industry in Ohio, doing a lot of great work, interviewing a lot of great people within the industry. He's a grower. He's a businessman, works with Benaleaves. He also suffers from sickle cell anemia, which is a rare genetic illness, typically in African Americans, and cannabis helps relieve his chronic pain. So shout out to Broderick and everything that he's doing over at Between the Buds. Yeah, and I think there's a few other people that aren't coming to my brain right now, but yeah, I mean, the ancillary market, a lot of people don't understand when it comes to cannabis. I know everybody wants to grow or smoke, and it's like, really, a lot of people don't understand the ancillary market is a wide open space. So marketing, advertising, the podcast space, the tools, right? So people need grow tents, people need lights, people need soil, people need seeds. There's all types of ways that you can make money in the cannabis space without actually growing the plant. There's retail shops that they sell everything that you need to get started, right? So they'll sell you the seeds, they'll sell you the soil, the fertilizer, they'll give you classes. Can't buy the weed there, but you can get all the tools. And so people need to understand, like, education. There's a lot of people in the cannabis space that'll say, well, people don't know what they're talking about, but then they won't use the knowledge that they have to share it with other people. You know what I mean? And that's why that's one of the things that really irks me in the cannabis space, is that there's so many people who've been underground, and now that cannabis is legalizing, and you have some people that are willing to share their thoughts, opinions, ideas, whatever. And then people are coming, well, people don't know what they're talking about. It's like, so why don't you share? Why don't you create your own platform and share so people can come to you? You know what I mean? Like, that's always been one of my things that really irk me. Like, if you don't like the way somebody doing it, go create something else and do it your way. Like, don't sit there and waste your time, your energy hating on somebody else because they're doing something that they want to do. Just because you may not like it, it don't work for you. Go do something that work for you. You know what I mean? If you don't like a platform, don't sit there and keep subscribing to the platform and saying, well, I don't like this platform. Okay, create your own. Like, we live in a time, in a space where we all have these cell phones, the internet, YouTube. It don't cost no money really to start a YouTube channel. Like, it didn't cost me no money to start my podcast, my YouTube, outside of electricity, my computer, Wi-Fi, stuff like that. You know what I mean? I bought the domain name, but people just everybody think you gotta have everything set in stone. Like, everybody think, like, oh, I gotta have all the money. Like, no, I do this. Ain't nobody paying me to do this. You know what I mean? And like, I'm not even in a hustle to try to make a bunch of money. You know what I mean? Because I do it because I love it. I'm passionate about it. I'm creating a lane and a space for myself in this cannabis space. You know what I mean? So I don't have to go apply for no jobs. You know, I don't have to go work for, a cannabis company that's unseasoned. Right? I don't have to go work in the industry. I could talk about Ohio weed all day and I don't have to interact with none of the executives, none of the CEOs, none of the bud tenders. Like, I can operate in a very different way than a lot of the bud tenders can. A lot of people are afraid to talk about weed publicly. That's why we don't see barely any of the people in the Ohio industry talking publicly about what's going on in the Ohio cannabis space. The only people you're hearing from are the patients and the consumers, right? I mean, everybody that I showed you, the only person that actually works in the industry was Broderick. You know what I mean? And so it took me forever to get Broderick to even talk because he was so afraid that if he talked too loud or said something, he would be, reprimanded. But, the best way is to build your own shit. Start a consulting firm, start a marketing and advertising agency in the cannabis space, start an accounting company, start an insurance company, start if you're a lawyer, start a law firm, covering people in the cannabis space, start small businesses, start a lounge, a brewery. Like, there's so many different ways to get in the industry without having to touch the plant and have hundreds of thousands, millions of dollars to get a license. And that's partly why the hemp industry, what was going on there is like, I could get some hemp and open up a retail store or just sell it online. But, it's 2025, 2026, man. Like, I'm not somebody that's going to sit around and wait. You know what I mean? And I'm all about creating my own. So, it's a beautiful time to be alive, even though it's a lot of crazy shit going on. You still got to be able to be optimistic and find the good things, right? I stay the fuck out the way. Like, since COVID, I said, fuck y'all. I ain't fucking with y'all, bro. If I don't gotta be outside with, general pop, like, motherfuckers is going crazy, man. Rest in peace to all the people that's been knocked the fuck off too, and all these fucking the Brown situation. They saying that Brown situation and the MIT situation are the same person. They found him. He killed himself. Who else? Some other wild shit's going on. So y'all be safe out here. You know what I mean? Smoke some weed. Grow some weed. Share some weed. What y'all got going on this weekend though? What's going on? What's good, TikTok? Pissy red. Let me see what's going on in my city today. All right, let's see the headlines in Columbus today. ICE accused of targeting vetted Afghan migrants in Columbus. Yeah, if you're in Columbus, ICE is in Columbus. And there's been a lot of posts going around since about yesterday afternoon. Morris Road, they're saying Morris Road by Easton, Westerville. Yeah, so obviously heavy immigrant population, heavy Somalian population. A lot of Europeans and stuff like that. Columbus is a sanctuary city, so yeah, I mean, the mayor made a statement, city council president made a statement, Columbus police chief made a statement. So yeah, y'all be safe out here. Women who lured men for sex guilty of serial killing. That's wild. Worthington okays workforce housing tax abatement program. New I-71 flyover ramp in Columbus to open Saturday. Kim Kardashian shaped red line Easton line opens at Easton. Suspect in University District Koger homicide sentenced. Excuse me. Ohio part of Menard's $4.25 million rebate settlement. Ohio coach fired over affairs. alcohol record show. That's my alma mater too. Got him, man. Blanche says DOJ won't release full Epstein files. Fuck you, mean? See, they wilding with this. Like, release all the files, bro. We want to see all of them. Every single one. Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche said the Department of Justice, DOJ, my mom used to work for DOJ, would not be releasing the full Epstein files on Friday as required under new legislation, instead sending over a partial batch. Blanche told Fox News the Justice Department would release several 100,000 documents on Friday. And then over the next couple of weeks, I expect several 100,000 more. Blanche attributed the delay to the need to redact any names or identifying information about witnesses, but failing to turn over the full unclassified files could run afoul of law, which gave the department 30 days to publicly share the documents. Quote, so today is the 30 days when I expect that we're going to release several 100,000 documents today. And those documents will come in all different forms, photographs and other materials associated with all the investigations into Mr. Epstein, Blanche said. What we are doing is looking at every single piece of paper that we are going to produce, making sure that every victim, their name, their identity, their story, to the extent it needs to be protected, is completely protected. And so I expect that we're going to release more documents over the next couple of weeks. DOJ was compelled to turn over the files related to convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein by a bill that got near unanimous support in Congress, signed into law after President J. Trump reversed his earlier stance opposing their release. While the bill does allow for redactions related to victims and for the DOJ to withhold some information about the investigation, it does not provide a rolling deadline to turn over the documents. Under the law, the DOJ has 15 days to turn over its rationale for any documents withheld. Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer, Democrat from New York, said not releasing the required files in full amounts to breaking the law. The law Congress passed and President Trump signed was clear as can be. The Trump administration had 30 days to release all the Epstein files, not just some. Failing to do so is breaking the law. Well, we know them; they don't give a fuck about breaking the law. What? This just shows the Department of Justice, Donald Trump, and Pam Bondi are hell-bent on hiding the truth, Schumer said in a statement on Friday. Senate Democrats are working closely with attorneys for the victims of Jeffrey Epstein and with outside legal experts to assess what documents are being withheld and what is being covered up by Pam Bondi. We will not stop until the whole truth comes out. Rep. Roberta Garcia, Democrat from California, and Jamie Raskin, Democrat from Maryland, the top Democrats on the House Oversight and Judiciary Committees, said they were now examining all legal options in the face of this violation of federal law. Rep. Thomas Massie, Republican from Kentucky, one of the bipartisan duo that pushed to force a vote on the Epstein Files Transparency Act, posted a screenshot of the bill on X with a language of the 30-day deadline highlighted. On Thursday, he said there was no ambiguity with the law and what the law requires to be released. Trump has agreed to comply with the law, and Bondi has to comply with it as well. And there will be penalties if she does not, Massey said. This is a very unique situation. This is a case where the president, who's appointed the attorney general and for whom the attorney general works, has signed the law, and the ink is not even dry yet on his signature on this law, Massey said. There's nothing subject to interpretation. Woo! Y'all want to see them? Y'all be seeing them files? Whoa! Ain't even none of my business, but it's spicy. Because I'm not the type to be in white folks' business, but this shit is must-see TV. The Apprentice, boy. It's like, They out here wilding. Little girls, man. And I'm in Columbus, Ohio, so it make it even worse because that shit come right through here, bro. How one anonymous tipster cracked the Brown shooting case. Information from the tipster who had a strange encounter with another man on a sidewalk outside of Brown University was a key. Police identifying the suspect they believe killed the two students at the school, and then 2 days later gunned down Massachusetts Institute Technology professor. Known only as John in Providence police affidavit, the source is being hailed by investigators as the key figure who gave law enforcement the details needed to determine who was behind the Brown shooting, as well as the killing of the Massachusetts Institute of Technology professor who was shot in his Brookline home Monday. Ever since the shooting, the shooter unloaded more than 40 rounds inside a Brown engineering building. Anxiety and frustration has plagued the Providence, Rhode Island community as police appeared no closer to identifying a person. Yet, on the sixth day of the investigation, the case gathered steam, ending the police announcing late Thursday they had found the suspected gunman dead from a self-inflicted gun wound. The tipster, John, was the reason why. He blew this case right open, said Rhode Island Attorney General Peter, of the information provided by the individual that resulted in finding the gunman nearly 24 hours later. When you crack it, he said. According to the police, John had several encounters with 48-year-old Claudio Neves Valenti before Saturday's attack. As police posted images of the person of interest, now identified as Neves Valenti, John began posting on social media forum Reddit that he recognized the person and theorized that police should look into possibly a rental grade Nissan. Reddit users urged him to tell the FBI, and John said he did. The police affidavit said they learned about the tip December 6th, 3 days after the shooting, and the day after the tip line was created. Up until that point, the police affidavit said officials had not connected a vehicle to the possible shooter. That detail led them to get more videos of a Nissan Sentra sedan with Florida plates and enabled Providence police officers to tap into a network of more than 70 street cameras operated around the city by surveillance company Flock. Oh, they got them through the Flock cameras. The affidavit said John gave investigators additional critical details. He encountered Neves in the bathroom of the engineering building just hours before the attack, where John noted the suspect wearing clothing was inappropriate and inadequate for the weather. John also bumped into Neves outside, mere blocks from the building, where John watched Neves Valenti suddenly turn around from the Nissan when he saw John. Uh, what ensued was then a game of cat and mouse, according to John's testimony, where the two would encounter each other and Neves Valenti would run away. At one point, John says he yelled out, "Your car is back there. Why are you circling the block?" The suspect responded, "I don't know you from nobody." And then suspect repeatedly asked, "Why are you harassing me?" According to the affidavit. Respectfully, I have said all I have to say on the matter to the right people, John wrote on Reddit Wednesday night. As of Thursday, it's unknown whether John will receive a $50,000 reward from FBI had offered for information about John Brown's shooting. Ted Dock, special agent in charge of FBI, said it was possible when asked by reporters. It would be logical to think that absolutely the individual would be entitled to that, he said. And they better give my man his bread. Fuck you mean? 50 racks. And they probably gonna tax him. That's very crazy. They gonna tax my man. He found the shooter, and they gonna tax him. They gonna get the 50 grand, and Donald Trump gonna be like, "Nah, give me 40% of that, player. Thank you for your service." What? That's crazy. Excuse me. TikTok signs deal to sell U.S. Let me see. Check Oh, marijuana moment real quick. We've been going 39. Let's go. Let's go. Marijuana moment. Trump lied about not getting any calls against marijuana rescheduling. GOP suggests. A GOP senator is suggesting that Donald Trump lied when he said during a signing ceremony for marijuana rescheduling executive order this week that he hadn't received any calls in opposition to the reform. During Thursday's event, Trump noted strong public support for marijuana reform and said numerous people called him to voice support for cannabis rescheduling. I don't think I received any calls on the other side of it. Yo, Trump be just lying, bro. Like that, like Trump lies so much, bro. Like I literally have like flashbacks to when like I was a little kid and I used to get ass whippings for lying and shit just because my mom was a lawyer and shit. Like, what? He can need his ass beat. Like the fact he just be lying. No, like, and you can tell him the truth. That's crazy. That somebody could just be the president of the United States and just lie. Like when they fact lies. And that shit don't stop nothing. That comment didn't sit right with the Senator Ted Budd, a Republican from North Carolina, who says if he in fact called the president to express his opposition to rescheduling marijuana just days ago. Quote, I called him personally Friday last week and let him know, the senator told Punchbowl News. Budd said he is also aware that other lawmakers had called Trump to urge him to enact the federal reclassification of marijuana. Quote, I was aware of people calling him then against rescheduling, end quote, he said, quote, so I knew that my colleagues had been calling him, end quote. Earlier this week, Budd led a group of GOP senators in sending a letter urging Trump not to reschedule cannabis. House Republican lawmakers also sent a separate letter to the president on the issue. Trump, however, dismissed those concerns during Thursday's signing ceremony, pointing out that an overwhelming majority of Americans support the reform and that cannabis can help people who are suffering from serious health issues, including his personal friends. Republican State Attorney General are also expressing concerns about Trump's marijuana move. The executive order Trump signed directs the Attorney General to complete a process to move cannabis from Schedule 1 to Schedule 3 under the Controlled Substances Act, which would let cannabis businesses take federal tax deductions and lift certain barriers. Bow, there's your answer. All right. That move is going to allow cannabis businesses to take federal tax deductions and lift certain barriers. That's what the rescheduling is all about. It's not going to help average people. It's only going to help the businesses, the institutions, universities, people that can study, research, pharmaceutical companies, doctors. GOP State Attorney General pushed back on Trump's marijuana, saying it could harm safety of our citizens. Florida Attorney General asked Supreme Court to review 2026 marijuana legalization ballot initiative. Trump touts medical marijuana as substitute for addictive opioids, but says he has no interest in using it as himself. GOP senator says marijuana banking bill remains stalled, but Trump's rescheduling order could spur Congress to act. Lawmakers, state officials, advocates, and industry react to Trump's marijuana rescheduling order. Trump dismisses GOP lawmakers' opposition to his marijuana. Trump signs executive order to reclassify marijuana by removing it from Schedule 1. Trump. CBD provides pain relief, removes sleep aid, and aids relaxation. Study involving Olympic athletes show. That's a good article. Marijuana components effectively inhibit ovarian cancer cell growth. Studies show. Legal marijuana access reduces suicide rates for older adults. New studies suggest. New Netflix documentary shows how psychedelics help military veterans heal trauma. Joe Rogan slams really bad federal hemp ban. Trump signed blaming alcohol industry for influencing Congress. As more Americans choose marijuana over alcohol, mainstream media notices the cousin walk, Thanksgiving tradition. Marijuana consumers are more likely to shop at Target following decision to sell cannabis-infused drinks. Marijuana company sues DoorDash, Total Wine, and others over alleged illegal sale of hemp THC products. Whiskey company scales back operations, citing consumer shifts toward marijuana as alcohol alternative. Trump signs cannabis rescheduling. Trump cannabis order could touch banking and CBD Medicare coverage. Cannabis banking issues debated in Senate committee. A lot of juicy content, man. That's what we love about the cannabis industry. All right, that's the end of the show today. I appreciate you guys for tuning in. Make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe, all those great things. If you have any insider tips that you want to send to us, any questions, if you want to be interviewed, send us your resume, send us your headshot and all that stuff. And we're lining up interviews all the time. We're lining up content. If you want us to preview your company, if you want to do work with us, if you want to promote your company, advertise on our platform, we are open to that. We accept donations, so we are a nonprofit, independent grassroots organization. And so if you want to support us, we do have a nonprofit, Green Environmental Outreach, GEO nonprofit. I am the president of the nonprofit. We have all of our legal paperwork. And so if you want to donate to what we're creating over here at the Ohio Cannabis Report, you can donate through GEO nonprofit. You can follow us, www.geononprofit.org. You can also follow us on all of our social medias. We are all about everything green, environmental, sustainability, health and wellness, wraparound services for our community, mental health for our most underserved community members, our veterans. We are a veteran-owned and founded nonprofit. And so, again, we are very aware of some of the issues that are facing some of our veterans and our community members. So please support us. We are a grassroots organization. So, again, we operate off of personal donations. We get grants every now and again when we can apply for them, doing events and stuff like that. So thank you guys for tuning in. Make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe, check in with us. Email us at ohiocannabisreport@gmail.com if you have any questions, concerns, tips, want to partner with us, business collaborations, marketing, advertising, all that good stuff. Until next time, peace. Log off.